Peptides are powerful and often misunderstood.
But we're here to change that one conversation at a time.
I'm Dr. Kylie Burton.
And I'm Jessica Brickie.
This is Pep Talk. Peptides Unpacked. Science made simple, results made real. There's a gland in the middle of your neck. Most of you know it as your thyroid gland. And this poor little guy gets blamed for a whole lot of things. Well, today's episode is all about the thyroid. If you have thyroid labs in the last 10 years, push pause or finish the recording and come back and listen to it again because you're going to want to. Have your labs near you so that you can see what your numbers mean. And then, based upon your numbers, what is the right peptide for you? So, Jess, how many thyroid people have you seen in the last 30 years?
Countless and climbing, right? It used to be when I started in practice 35 years ago, you had a few people maybe that had thyroid. Now it's the opposite. You have a few people that don't have a thyroid issue, and the pendulum is swung completely the other way. So most everybody has some sort of thyroid dysfunction or teetering on it.
Yeah. And we're not going to name any diagnoses. We're not going to name any autoimmune, but that's a diagnosis. Anyways, we're not going to get into the diagnoses here. We're going to just simply talk thyroid and what your labs can mean from a functional perspective. So whether you've been diagnosed, whether you're like, I fit all of the symptoms, but I haven't been diagnosed, or your friend keeps complaining about her thyroid, tune into this episode. It's for you. And if you're a practitioner, this one's for you too, because we are taking complicated supplement protocols and replacing them with simple peptide stacks. And if you guys know, peptides are just up and coming. And there's a whole lot more to peptides than GLPs, which is what our podcast is all about, in addition to GLPs. If you're new here, go back to the beginning. I've numbered the episodes in numerical order. There are some very, very powerful stories that we shared at the beginning as we launched this at the end of 2025. So don't skip over them, go back to them and then cipher through all the episodes that you would love to listen to. So I just want to plug that in there. Like I'm constantly telling about Jimmy's story. Jimmy's story is episode number 3.
I talk about
BPC 157 showed like injuries, um, organs besides your thyroid. You're talking kidneys, heart, liver. Like this guy, Jimmy, our Jessica's friend, he's just like the epitome of how powerful peptides can be. And I don't want you guys to miss any of these powerful stories. So if you are new here, welcome aboard. Go back and listen to all the good stuff. Okay. All right, Jess, we ready to talk thyroid?
I did. I just want to pick up on one thing that you said, which is you mentioned that peptides are up and becoming, which they are. Everybody's talking about them. You started really
But they've
with,
been around for a long time.
right, like there are some that have been around that are people think they're brand new, like BPC 157, for example, that's been around for 30 years. So even though we're just kind of talking about some of these peptides, they are not new. They have been used, they were discovered decades ago, and there is a lot of science behind most of these peptides.
Yeah, what's new is the accessibility.
Yes.
So good catch.
Yep.
And speaking of being around for a long time, insulin is a peptide, and we've been using it for 100 years. It's
Hmm.
been around for a long time, and it's saved a lot of people's lives.
It sure is.
Okay, when we think about the thyroid, I want to share my screen here just so I can walk some visually through this because we're going to think about the thyroid in 3 different tiers. And in these tiers, I'm going to relay them as like a totem pole. At the top of the totem pole is this lovely gland we call the pituitary. If you were to draw a line down the center of your head in both directions, where it crosses, there sits your pituitary gland. It's probably tinier than your thyroid, but it's very, very important because your pituitary produces a hormone called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Yes, this lovely marker that we see in all of our labs, the number one marker people use to determine the health of your thyroid, yet it's such an oxymoron because it is not a thyroid hormone, it is a pituitary hormone.
That's
The
always so bananas.
pituitary
People are shocked
is
when they hear that. What do you mean that's not a thyroid hormone? That's what my doctor tested. Yes, because your doctor really didn't give you a good thyroid workup. No, TSH is
correct.
not it.
And they really don't understand the thyroid period. But you're going to understand it. Whoever's listening to this, you're going to understand the thyroid better than most physicians and most ordinary people. We're all ordinary people just trying to do our best. Okay, so again, the pituitary sits in the middle of your brain, and that's important because of the peptide that's going to be the solution. Okay, so the pituitary sits inside the middle of your brain. It produces TSH, which then talks to the thyroid. Your TSH, any given lab range is going to be between 0.5 and 5.5. I don't know about you, but that is a big range. I like to joke about it's like finding your favorite restaurant somewhere between Utah and New York. And I say those because that's where me and Jess are located. Usually it's California and New York, which makes it even harder. Um, When we take that broad range and we narrow it to a functional range, now we have a little bit better chance of finding your favorite restaurant, meaning finding your happy place. My functional range that I love is 1.8 to 3. Like I said, if you have labs, you're going to want them. Go grab them or go back and listen to this another time. That TSH is 1.8 to 3.
Can
How
I
do
just
we
hop in
suck?
real quick with that, Kylie? Because I think people should understand when you talk functional blood lab and that range, let's just explain that's your body working optimally. That's where we want it to be. That's the target. And the lab ranges that people are using, those are based on sick populations. Old ranges based on a sick population, whereas when you're talking about a functional range, that's the optimal range that we want those labs to be sitting in, where you're working at its prime. The body's at its
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah. So it's your, I don't feel good, but I don't feel bad enough to be diagnosed.
Right.
That's like the center there. Okay. So after you've looked at your TSH and you're like, man, Kylie, I'm at point 0.1, which is very, very common, despite having thyroid medication. In fact, I work with a lot of people and we minimize their thyroid medication quite often. So you're looking at your thyroid, your TSH, and you're like, I'm at point 0.1. What does that mean? Well, think about it. If your pituitary is not producing enough TSH, how do we fix the pituitary? And that's where the peptide comes into play. My favorite peptides for this specific scenario, there are two of them, Cmax and Selank. These are nasal sprays. And just previous to these peptides, it's been supplements, and you have to take a typically capsule that goes
Hmm.
through the digestive tract, and your digestive system has to process it, which many people's have destroyed digestive systems. And then it has to go affect your thyroid and your pituitary.
Right.
Here, we're like, no, what if I mean, not what if, it is a nasal spray. And that nasal spray is literally going to the cell receptors, like in your brain, right by your pituitary. It's immediately there, which is why the effects are also pretty
Right. It crosses
quick.
that blood-brain barrier and it's pretty instantaneous. And I think you glossed over something really important, but it is really important. The supplements can work and help people for sure, but so many people have digestive inflammation along the entire GI tract that you can't absorb them. So you're spending a whole lot of money to have it bypass those absorption spots because of inflammation. So This bypassing all of this sick part of the body, we're minimizing something that's crucial to every aspect of thyroid or any hormone whatsoever if we're just doing supplements. It's not, it can help. This is so much better because we're not addressing that. Most people are not addressing that other problem.
Yeah. And besides your labs, besides the numbers, what thyroid person doesn't struggle with a foggy brain,
Mhm.
maybe some ADD, maybe some ADHD, maybe some anxiety, maybe some depression bouts? Like these Cmax and Selank, those two peptides are not going to just compound effect with that pituitary and get it producing TSH and feeling good, but you're going to feel better from a symptomatic perspective with clearer brain, clearer memory. If you are needing your brain on the day-to-day basis because you've got to rely on your brain for work, which most adults do, that will definitely help. It will help you be focused. If you need some focusing help, Cmax and Selank. If you're like anxiety, depression, I want to kick it to the curb, Cmax and Selank. So there's multiple ways, multiple benefits from just these two peptides. And like we said, they're nasal sprays, so they're quick. All right, so I'm going to go over this briefly once again. Your pituitary sits in the middle of your brain, middle of your head, technically, not your brain, but the middle of your head, and it produces TSH. The functional range for TSH is 1.8 to 3. If your TSH falls outside of that range, you're going to think pituitary because that's what's producing it. Your solution is Cmax and Selank. The two of them pair greatly together. They can also be purchased individually. Okay, now let's talk thyroid. Well, your thyroid is responsible for producing T4. In your labs, it shows up as free T4. The functional range is 1.0 to 5. Oh, sorry, 1.0 to 1.5. So let me say that again. Free T4 inside your labs, the functional range is 1.0 to 1.5. If you fall outside of that range, you're going to think thyroid specifically, so some cell damage. Cells make up your thyroid gland. Same thing with everything else. But we're going to work on the cell damage, and we're going to find something that can directly impact the thyroid. Okay. Oftentimes, if we're going to ever refer to something autoimmune, it would be Hashimoto's. Okay. The solution to help heal cells is BPC 157 and TB 500, the Wolverine stack. It's my fave. In addition, you can use GLP-1 and GIP or tirzepatide, they're the same thing, to help your thyroid, as well as many other things that tirzepatide does. So there's T4, which is produced by your thyroid. That will need to get converted to T3. In your labs, it shows up as free T3. Converting T4 into T3 happens in two locations, your gut and your liver. So if you're looking at your labs and you're like, okay, Kylie, I've got some great TSH numbers. They're between, they're 2.1. My T4 is 1.1, but my T3 is over here at like 2.6 when it should be 3 to 4. Now we know the problem lies in the gut and or the liver. So what can we do to help it? Super fun crossover, BPC 157. It's going to help heal our leaky gut, and the TB 500. So you're getting double duty on that one with the double peptide. Because remember, we said that will help heal the thyroid as well if you're looking at T4 numbers that are off. It's particularly important for your gut. So one of the ways to improve your free T3 numbers is BPC 157, TB 500. And then the liver is glutathione. And people like to do coffee enemas. Well, if you want to switch out your coffee enema for just some good old glutathione injection, go for it. If you're like, Kylie, I've never tried that before, I'm up for it. Go for it. One of our upcoming guests is going to talk about her experience with glutathione, and she's tried just about everything. So, there's the breakdown of your thyroid and how to help it from a numerical perspective heal so you can feel better in the long run based upon your labs.
I think I want to go back to talking about the Cmax for one quick second, and make sure that we clarify the Cmax and Selank are not going to directly impact the TSH number change, but it will support the pituitary and its overall hormone load function and how it reads that. So if people take Selank and Cmax thinking that it's going to be a complete switch to the TSH, that's not what's going to happen. It's going to support the function of the pituitary. But what it will do, which I think you mentioned briefly, is really focus on the symptoms that you get with brain fog and anxiety and all that. That's going to be a definite switch for the people that are suffering there, but it indirectly is going to influence that TSH number.
Yeah. And honestly, time is going to tell. At one of the expos I was at, I'm hoping I can get her on a podcast for a guest episode. But she's like just one of those research nerds
Hmm.
and goes off on what she's done for not just herself, but her husband. And she uses the labs and his labs as markers to determine what they need and she's got crazy amounts of lab markers plus their befores and afters. So I'm like, we got to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great. There's
so
so
that
many
hopefully,
practitioners doing that. That's
yeah, that's upcoming. But really, I mean, we're not going to know about the lab number impact until we start doing this at a bigger scale.
100%.
So if you are trying this and you add Semax and Selank into your repertoire and you're seeing like, Kylie, my numbers are stabilized, we want to know. Like, let us know about those things and then let your practitioners know, your colleagues know. Because theoretically, that's what happens, but this is at the beginning stages. So let's put this into action and get some people experiences and their numbers. And we can't claim anything. We're never going to claim anything. But it's been fun. And her name's Heidi. So if you see a guest on upcoming episode with guest as Heidi, you'll know that we're going to talk about labs and what she's done with peptides for both her and her husband.
On a personal note, I've used the Cmax myself. That's the one I'm using. Yes, I'm using the Cmax myself. I have Hashimoto's that I was diagnosed with 20 something years ago. All of my peptide use has been to reduce inflammation, protect my brain, and so on and so forth. But I always feel like I can do a little bit better. That's a home run. So, as somebody that personally has Hashimoto's, I am seeing the difference in how this layers in and how I'm functioning through the world as somebody that is pretty good shape. It's taken it that much further. It's time for me to get some labs done myself and check in and see what it's done on paper because I know what it's done in action every day. I love
Yeah.
it.
My husband's is still sitting in the fridge.
Oh no.
We need to pull that thing out, Cmax and Selank, because we're starting in beginning of May and the roofing season is full-fledged. He put in a 12-hour shift yesterday, and it's like, yeah, roofing season has arrived. Here, take some anti-anxiety nasal spray, please. I need to just do it myself to him. Um, all right. That's our conversation today. Jess, where can they find you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at jessb.talkshealth. There you're going to find me talk about peptides and education around nutrition and how we can support your body. And you can also find me at my website, and that's b2bwithjess.com. And love to have you follow me and join me and message me anyway in any of those places you can get me.
The best place to find me, actually, if you are a practitioner, is my new book. It's now out on Amazon. It's called Unshakable Belief. It is a 10K client framework, 6 steps. So it's literally a step-by-step plan on how you can grow income that doesn't stop when you leave the office. That's Unshakable Belief on Amazon. If you're ready to order peptides or to join us as an affiliate, go to drkylieburton.com. This is Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked.